obviously aware of it. We've got extremely high standards. Just a little bit of back pass on the back shoulder, isn't it? Just those little moments, creating a lot, but not quite finishing it with a little bit of skill execution.
So now he's back on the left wing. So we're looking for a new midfield combination, and Billy Proctor's the guy at the moment. Well, he hasn't excelled. Let's be honest about that.
Sometimes, especially in test footy, just get your feet underneath you and feel confident. It takes time.
DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
All Blacks presser this morning from Argentina. Coach Scott Robertson always fronts up on a Tuesday. So, media rat pack in place. Plenty of questions put to the coach. Yours truly, DSPN, kicking it all off, as you see. And then after that, we're going to get some talk about Tamaiti Williams and Wallace Sititi when those guys are coming back. Billy Proctor. Quite a long dissertation from Scott Robertson about Billy Proctor, about how his form has been, what he's expecting of him, how he has assessed so far him playing. Really interesting, I thought, what Scott Robertson had to say about that. Shut down all talk about South Africa and Australia, as expected. His answer was really good to that question as well. He's just got his mind on other things at the moment. So let's kick it off with a couple of questions. The forwards went really well on the weekend. The backline, you won't be happy with, I'm sure. It was muddled, a lot of missed passes. What do you put it down to at the moment? The lack of cohesion, or perhaps the backline just not performing up to the level that you want it to at the moment?
Oh, look, obviously aware of it. We've got extremely high standards. We just a little bit of back pass on the back shoulder, isn't it? Just those little moments that you're creating a lot, but not quite finishing it with a little bit of skill execution. So first thing to do is understand and own it, and then go and train and put yourself under pressure. But these guys are highly skilled. They're really professional. They do their homework. You just feel like they just quite haven't got their timing in their moment. But the important thing is that you keep trusting your skill set and keep giving those passes. It will stick.
You want to play at pace, but then you have to balance that out with composure and pattern, and going back to what we do well as well. So how are you thinking about that this week?
Mauling. It's not a bad thing to go to, isn't it? You can play fast and you can maul and scrum. Look, we didn't even get a scrum in the first test last year against them, so we were pretty pleased to get a couple of scrums this year, and it's a real weapon for us. But we can play in different ways, like we defended for long periods of time, and we were really disciplined in the times that we weren't disciplined and let them in our 22, and that's the stuff that you look at. And chess footy is a game of being really clean, error-free and discipline-free as much as you can to build pressure on other opposition, take it off yourself. So it's a balance of the two, Getting in there 22 is some great opportunities to see how we can play both ways, fast and with power.
Couple of more questions. You wanted to blood new players, obviously, and use your squad. And again, you've got to balance that with continuity and cohesion. So if you can't experiment this weekend, when do you actually get it to experiment? And I mean, there's a lot of chatter amongst the fans about Leroy Carter and obviously Jimmy the difference in that. So what are your thoughts about how to blood those guys, how to give them more game time, balanced with wanting to beat Argentina again, obviously?
Yeah, there's now and then there's a future, and that's the balance and the art of coaching and selection. They're great players. Or they've had great super competitions to give themselves a chance to be in the All Blacks and then around the environment, and you just build that competition, and that's the key. And both Leroy and the Jim the Difference, hell of a nickname, isn't it?
Great nickname, mate.
Yeah, it is. He's a good character too. Those Fijians figure the land is trouble, but they, they've come in, and look, we've got obviously a few big tests in a row, and we haven't played for a month. Some guys need football, and they need to play together and get high cohesion so they can play, as you said, and also give guys opportunities to build depth for now in this rugby cycle.
All right, one more quick question just about South Africa and Australia. Have you had a chance to watch that game in whole, or just some highlights, and just your thoughts about it? Does it change your mindset about how to play South Africa at all after watching that?
Yeah, look, it's a game again of a bounce of a ball and a pass and a couple of little moments, South Africa played beautifully for a long period of time, and then it just turned, didn't it? And it just shows, like I mentioned before, with discipline and accuracy and errors, how things can change so quickly. Does it change the way we're going to play them? Look, we know how they're going to play. They're going to play to their strengths. They'll go back to them, we believe. I think they will anyway. It's just their DNA. But it's just, how do you stop them, but also play your own game? So it'll be a hell of a fiery test. It's how good's Test footy? Everyone's talking about it, and there's some great footy being played.
And just finally, a quick update on both Sititi and also Tamaiti, and that's me out. Thank you.
Yeah, mate, you've covered the grounds. Yeah, they're both available.
The returning players, as Scott Robertson answered there, Tamaiti Williams and Wallace Sititi, both are available for this weekend. Now, I suppose the conundrum is you throw these guys back in, but they haven't had much rugby, and he's about to explain that, Scott Robertson. Let's not forget, Scott Barrett came back on the weekend. He hadn't played since the first test against France, which was in the beginning of July. Beauden Barrett came back. He hadn't played since a week after that, the second test. So Tamaiti Williams, from memory, didn't play the final couple of matches of Super Rugby. Wallace Sititi, we haven't really seen that guy all year. He had the knee injury at the end of last year. But both these guys are available, and you'd expect both to be selected when the team is named on Friday.
They've had a couple of really good training weeks, so that the load, time on feet, the scrummaging obviously for Tamaiti, and the running meters for Wallace has been really critical for us. So they've hit those, and then obviously it's a little bit of management. They're not going to go 80, are they? Or Tamaiti doesn't anyway. Well, he could. Mind you, I couldn't say that he doesn't, but it's not optimum when you first come back. But they're fit and healthy, and they'll be on managed minutes.
Billy Proctor and the All Blacks midfield. So at the start of the season, I, like a lot of other All Black fans, are thinking, okay, Rieko Ioane, you've done your time there. You've played a lot of test matches for the All Blacks with the number 13 jersey on your back, and you do some things really well. But the attack is stilted. Rieko has serious limitations on being able to find his outsides, make gaps, create gaps, play heads-up rugby and take the right option. All of these things. We've seen it for the All Blacks. We've seen it throughout Super Rugby. So now he's back on the left wing. So we're looking for a new midfield combination, and Billy Proctor's the guy at the moment. Well, he hasn't excelled. Let's be honest about that. So in terms of Scott Robertson's view on how he has played and what he expects of him, I thought this is a really interesting answer from the coach when that question was put.
Billy's got all the skills and capabilities. Like, sometimes, especially in test footy, just get your feet underneath you and feel confident. It takes time for people, and he's just a pass away. He's getting better each week in understanding and reading the game and the combinations. You can see him when he plays it. His top level, his top form, and we put a lot of time into him, and it's just ability of staying the course with him and trusting him and believing in himself, and he can keep giving him feedback.
South Africa against Australia then on the weekend. Well, we're all talking about it, and obviously the All Blacks are aware of this result. I don't know whether or not they've all sat down and watched the game or not, but interesting here how Scott Robertson just shuts down all talk about that, and I understand why, because he doesn't want to be distracted by it. He does give a little bit of an answer. He's obviously watched some highlights or anything like that, but has a bigger fish to fry at the moment with another test, and a very tough test. Let's not underestimate Argentina in this second test. They did beat us last year. They beat everyone in the Rugby Championship last year. This is not a gimme this weekend at all, and I think the coach's answer reinforces that.
Well, I'm just concentrating on Argentina, Clay. To be honest with you, I'll turn the page when we get past this week, and we'll start talking about those teams. But like I said before, Test footy's in a great spot, and it's a lot of teams you can win on a bounce of ball these days in a rest call, so it's exciting. Yeah.
This is the DSPN.